So yeah, welcome to Monday Morning Club. So just woke up. So let's just take some deep breaths in. Lucy, you know the drill if you're driving. Yeah, be careful or don't do the breath stuff. So we're just gonna take big deep breath in through the nose. Just feel that breath filling the body, what that feels like, that expansion, slight hold, and then exhale. So, yeah, it doesn't need to be a slow, controlled exhale. Again, nice deep breath in, filling the lungs, the belly. Just what does it feel like to take that full deep breath and release? You don't have to, yeah, you don't have to do any pauses or anything here. Just want to take that big deep breath in through the nose, feel that expansion, fill that body up with the breath, and then let go. So I'm going to leave you with this for a little bit. Just a nice way to wake up the body. And remember, when we do a slow, controlled breath outwards, we make the exhale longer than the inhale. That's just going to calm us. Um, so when we want to activate a bit more energy into the body, into the mind, getting up early, just that nice big deep breath in and out, and really let that go. Think of like when you've been sleeping, all that air and oxygen, our respiratory rate becomes really low. We're just having the breath that we need to survive. I like to think a yoga teacher once said to me about the staleness of that breath and how good it is to just let it all out in the morning and take those nice deep energy breaths into the day and then letting out all of that staleness, getting ready for that new day. You might want to bring your arms up with an inhale and exhale, do a bit of movement, whatever you feel like. You can keep going with that as I launch into my chat, or just slow it down to your normal pace. Might want to have a little move around, just waking up. So, today we're going to talk about regret, which sounds negative. But I've also got something about, like the reality of it, of what we want to do, the barriers that stop us, and another way, instead of always thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Oh, I've not done it. And let's get a little bit curious around why. And the way I think it is so in the media, we're so used to this, like, what's your dream, what are your aspirations, what else do you want to do? Like, there's so much out there, 5 ways to change your life and all the rest of it, that we're really used to that language. And every now and then, I don't know about you, I'll catch that wave of energy of like, yes, this is what I'm going to do. And then I'm like, oh, it doesn't stick. It doesn't stick because I might do it for 4 days or 2 weeks or even a month. And then it's like, I'm back again. So, and something at looking at what you're choosing and also why you're not sticking at it. So, one thing, if you just want to, you might want to close your eyes for this. Just want you to take a moment to think about what really matters to you. So we're going a little bit beyond surface level of wanting wanting certain things, try and let that go. If there's anything popping in your head of what matters is I don't know, um, getting a new car or something shiny. I want you to go to that deeper level of what really matters. What you value, what you hold in your heart, and what your passions are. And just allowing to be aware, to bring some light onto those. And now I want you to think if there's something that you don't do now or in the next few months upcoming, in 2 years' time, what would you regret not starting now? That first thing that pops up. And you can open your eyes and come back. It might be something that you want to journal on today or this week. What is that? What's that thing? Just sometimes it's planting that seed. This Monday morning, what would I do? What if I don't address that now? Am I going to regret in 2 years? And the way that question is put to us completely changes the way in which it's like, oh yeah, it seems to get to a deeper root of why it's important. So, and there's this regret can be a really powerful, destructive emotion if we don't address it. So if we're forever sabotaging our dreams, our hopes, our goals, our passions for work and things that we don't want to do, it can start to haunt. Like it can be the regret is that resentment, not making that call to someone, not spending more time with somebody. And yeah, I was listening to Gabor Mate. Anyone that's not familiar with him, his book, The Body Says No, he's really gone mainstream the last 12 months or so, which is great. Um, but he did a book and listed the most common regrets that people have, and they were not having the courage to live a life true to themselves, instead living a life have what others expected of them, working too hard and missing out on life's simple pleasures, not expressing their feelings and emotions, losing touch with friends and loved ones, and not allowing themselves to be happier. Like that for me, like not allowing yourself. We put these constraints in place. We can build our own little prison of conditioning. We're conditioned from as soon as we're born, um, not in an ill intent way. I'm sure, well, it depends, but we have all these conditions. We've got these conditions now, from society, and how much is that influencing the way in which you live your life and the roles that you have that you are expected to do. So something for you to just get curious on. But identifying what your values are, what your desires are, and prioritizing so you can make those next steps. I'm sure, um, yeah, that I think when I ask this question, lots of people are like, it's just because I don't give myself time or I don't commit and dedicate to that time because it feels like an add-on. It's not a priority. The priorities of life, if you tend to be like, oh, I've got to get to work. I've got to, um, sort out the laundry and look after the kids and do all of these things. And by the time it gets to 9 p.m., you just might be absolutely shattered. And links into this nicely that, you do show up for yourselves. You're doing this meditation twice a week. You're here at 6:30 in the morning. There is part of you that is like, yeah, like I want more, whether that is the more relaxation, more self-actualization. You're here and you're showing up. So really committing that time. Um, so any fear and self-doubt, one of the common reasons we don't start anything is a huge fear of failure. Like I've not met anyone that's like, do you know what, one of my goals is to fail. Like to really monumentally mess everything up and fail. Like never heard it, not from might do. But I haven't. Like, I'm that kind of, what if I do? What does that mean? What does that look like? And again, a lot of that is the scaffolding that we are building to keep us in this familiar, safe place. Because I can guarantee, if you signed up to do a marathon, let's say, and you got injured at mile, I don't know, or you didn't do the training, sometimes that's a really good marker. You sign up for something and yet there isn't the time. That's that. You need to make more time. Um, but also, if you were to think about it, if a loved one signed up to do a marathon, they couldn't commit to the really like hard training plan. And then they got injured a couple of weeks before the event and they had to pull out. What would you say to them? And every opportunity I will thread in this self-compassion, self-compassion, self-compassion. It's always what we need to return to. And I can also guarantee that you would give them much nicer advice than you would give yourself, or you just have a different frame of reference. You'd be like, do you know what? This year's not your year. Like you signed up to it, you can't help it if you're injured or you've put everyone first. You've not put this training first. You're not ready. If you want to do this, you've got to just look after yourself more, fuel your body, get a proper training plan, get some support from people around you to look after the kids when you go out. You would like give so much more compassionate advice and a positive frame of reference than to you. Like it's 2 weeks before the event. Oh my God, I'm pulling out of this. Everyone's going to think I'm a shit show. I'm unreliable. It feeds into all that negative complex that we have every time that we don't do something that we say that we're going to do. And so that results into like, I'm never saying I'm going to do anything unless I'm 100% sure that, or 90% sure that I'm going to do it. So surround yourself with those supportive people, champions. If there is something, if you have got those people in your life, that be like, you're not going to do that. You'll never do that. Maybe don't tell them. Don't tell them so it's not that, oh, like, but you can really play around with this because for some people, it's like that's huge motivation of like, I've said I'm going to do it, I've said it to that person. But if you are wanting to prove something, again, what's behind that? Um, because people should just be accepting and championing you anyway. Those people that are in your life that you feel you have something to prove for, that could be something deeper, of what's running this motivation. Is it a desire to validate yourself because of childhood trauma or never feeling good enough or being in abusive relationships where you were told you weren't good enough, you'd never amount to anything? Like, what's running the show? Is it a complex of not good enough? Or is it, I just want to live a fuller, better life? You might have cut all those people out wherever you're at, surrounding yourself with the supportive people. If you've got the people that aren't your champion, that actually celebrate at every hurdle that you fall at, my question would be why they're still in your life. But also, as family, it's complex. I get it. But also maybe not tell them. Um, and that kind of takes the pressure off. But if you have got that worth to fulfill, you can have the joy in telling them when you've succeeded. Um, so like just breaking everything down into smaller things. So we'll stick with the example of the marathon is that, oh my God, you might like go online and look at a marathon training plan and be like, oh, I've got to do like 30, 40 miles a week running. How am I going to fit that in? Just starting somewhere. Like I've today could be going to run a mile. Or you're going to put on your trainers and walk a mile. Um, and breaking them down when we bring them into life, into our consciousness, like that training plan, it could be actually this isn't my year. It might be next year because it's got to be realistic. And breaking them down into those smaller steps and creating a deadline for yourself. Hey, I'm not boxy. I struggle doing like mental health assessments and stuff. I just think, God, they're so boxy. Those questionnaires in the last week, have you had trouble sleeping or has your appetite changed? It's like, why is that telling you about that person that's in front of you? I usually steer away from this metric deadline assessments. However, it does have its place. I think really putting a date in your diary or phones, if you're there's something that you're putting off, you want to get started, or it might be a regret that you want to make a phone call to an old friend, or you need to go and visit that old auntie. Pop it in of like, that's when I'm going to do it. Hold yourself accountable. Um, and there's lots of research. They do this in sports psychology. It's not visualizing that success. So when we manifest, a lot of it is like, and I do it too, and I teach it. And again, it has its place of really visualizing, like, oh, what does it feel like to get that medal, or what are those feelings? Like, focus on that, hold that clear in your vision that that is something that you want, but also holding the vision of what it's like for the commitment to get there. So, in a lot of sports psychology, what they do with elite athletes is they would get the trained athlete to visualize getting up on a dark Monday morning, lacing up those trainers when it's absolutely hammering outside. Maybe they have had an upset stomach, they're not feeling 100%. Maybe they're being pulled in a different direction and being asked to not train that day. We've got all these external forces coming in to prevent, visualize that as well. Of that, because what that does is that gets the mind ready, creates a muscle memory for, oh, this is going to be hard. So it's not the first time you encounter it. So the danger is when we're focusing on that end goal, it's going to be so amazing. Um, you're gonna hit the bumps in the roads. There's gonna be that run that feels like absolute burn of you. You're gonna want to stop. The weather's against you. People are criticizing you, saying you're spending too much time on it. You've already prepared yourself. So when that happens, you are less likely to give up at that point because you're like, I remember this, like I've done this. I know that this is going to be hard. Um, when I see lots of people, um, so I can't do anything, I can't stick to anything. They're only after the positive parts of it. It's like starting a business. The more that you grow and you expand, you also become more open to criticism. You become more open to the complaints. Um, yeah, something to prepare for. So it might be worth making a note. If you note down all those values, that dreams, desires, and also thinking about what are the barriers going to be, really familiarize yourself with that. And that could include other people's opinion. I hear so much. I do it, but and often that but can be, as well as scared of failure, it's the you know, I don't know, someone close to them isn't going to support it. And that's where we have to do like this, it's called like individuation, where we have to sit with ourselves like we do in meditation. This stuff gets easier and easier with meditating. Um, that consistent practice of like separating off so that you can connect with what you truly want. Um, it's not selfish. People often will say, oh, it's just selfish what I'm going to do. There's always compromise. You know, yes, there's other commitments in life. How can you best make it work for you in that current situation with the least backlash and the most support? And sometimes when we actually sit and we think about what it is we really want and what it means for us to achieve that, there may be, you know, some big changes around life and that environment you're in do need to happen. But um yeah, that living without regrets, there's a lovely passage in the passage. It sounds like a Bible. I said passage. There's I mean, Gabor Mate is a total guru of mine, but he writes about like nobody says like, "Oh, I should have worked harder." Really wish I'd have worked harder, and I wish I'd have spent less time with those people that lit me up. Those people that I love so dearly. I wish I hadn't have spent so much time with them. You know, I wish I hadn't worked so hard. This drive for working. You know, what's fueling that? I mean, the rent. There's we're in a cost of living crisis. Things don't seem to be getting easier. The whole world is going freaking crazy right now. Again, the meditation, bringing it back to self, bringing it back to the breath, but also asking those questions. I know that, you know, we have to work for X, Y, Z. You know, there's a survival element, but sometimes we work more than we need to because we are trying to validate. We're trying to show what that's where we're getting our worth from. Um, you know, our purpose. I am a worthy person if I work. You know, we're living in a society and culture where it's still glamorized for being busy. Being busy is, I still do it now. Like, honestly, I'll just be honest. My mum phones me, and it could be a Sunday afternoon, and I could be sat, you know, with my feet up with a brew. I don't always tell her that. I don't tell her. I say I don't always tell her that. I just truth bomb and never tell her that because the shame of relaxing that she's had inherited, you know, of that, like she wouldn't celebrate. Whereas I know that I've got so many people in my life that if I said, just sat down with a brew, they'd be like, oh, thank God for that, well done. Like, rest, girl, rest. So just be curious. The Monday, I will, yeah, Monday after I've done my my psychotherapy training. It's always a little bit deeper. Um, but it's big stuff. It's good stuff to learn. Not just going towards something and then like it fading away. Really, like, what's your why? Like, why do you want to do it? Always look at that because that is what's going to get you out. That's going to get you keep striving to it. And also, if you make a plan, or if you think like if you break it down into those breakable goals, achievable goals or steps and set those deadlines, compassion, compassion, something happen. We don't know what's going to happen. Adjust. So if it doesn't happen, just be like, okay, well, I need to adjust it because it's not working. Um, Time. It's always that time. We think our goals are an add-on to life after the survival. Often they are because we need to go and do, the long drives, or we need to go and work this job so that we can make ends meet. And I'm not dismissing that. In a hierarchy of needs, we need that shelter, we need the roof over our head. Um, but it is ingrained in many, many of us that that has to be the priority. And so time gets eaten with the must do's. And so if we're trying to live a healthier life, you need time for that. You need to put as much time in, if not more, if you're only just getting started, because you need to look at what it is you're going to eat. You need to buy all the things. What often happens if got all the must do's, and then by Thursday it's like, "Do you know what, I'm so busy, we'll just get takeaway." So put in, like, trying to funnel some of that time in. Work is a big part of, like, just thinking, what's my good enough? You don't have to be your best. It's always those people at work that get away with doing less. Is there any corners you can cut so you can create a bit more space for this stuff that you want to do, so that in 2 years' time, someone said, "Oh, have you got any regrets?" And I don't really use that language. For I regret this. It's like, I wish I'd have done this earlier. Doing my course now, I'm like, why didn't I complete this? It was family, whatever, in my 30s. Oh, 'cause I should have done this earlier. I don't hold on to it. I don't attach an emotion to it. I don't beat myself up for it. It's like the time was meant to be now, but just getting curious what you want to get started. So, lots of food for thought. Um, I will get some journal prompts and bits and the recording sent to you. And if anything pops up, you can email me, drop me a voice note or a WhatsApp message. If you're stuck with anything, just don't do it on your own. That's what we tend to do. I'm not going to send an invoice. Someone said that to me the other day. They're like, "Well, I did want to reach out." Someone that came on my course. I felt like that was your time, and it was like a session, so I was worried that I was going to get a bill. Okay. So yeah, this is wild swimming. And I'm like, it just says wild swimming. Although it's all right just to be wild. Anyway, I'm blathering on. Have a beautiful Monday. Um, yeah, and there's some food for thought to get you started. And take care. You can come back and have a chat if you want, or you can just drop off and crack on with your day. And I'll see you on Thursday for meditation.